One of the most common things you'll see in this game, just like in Dark Souls 1, is praising the sun. Also, you see a lot of messages about buttholes because, well, uh, you can write some more elaborate messages in this game than you can in Dark Souls 1. So this is Majula, and I was very impressed coming out of the tunnel the first time. I actually played this the first time on a PS3, which doesn't look as good, but just a bright open area is not something you see until much later in the game in Dark Souls 1. Even like a Firelink Shrine seemed kind of dismal. I mean, and this place is ruins, don't get me wrong, but it's very bright and warm looking, and it's got a nice ocean views of horrible crags and stuff like that, but it's definitely much nicer looking than the beginning of Dark Souls 1. Over here by this tree, we can get an item. A Divine Blessing. But, just like in Dark Souls 1, there are secrets in the beginning area. Usually there's a message here to alert people to the presence of this secret, so let's actually leave a message here. So, the way you do it is you pick various options from there, so like something ahead, try something, just that, and then once you're done with that, that's how you do butthole. You try, let's see, objects. No, I guess it's actions. Try jumping. And then you do treasure ahead. And then at the bottom you can see that you hit X and you save it. And then we wrote the message. So we can look at that. Message, try jumping, treasure ahead. And somebody else wrote a message while I was doing that. You can see some bloodstains here. They do the same thing as they do in Dark Souls 1. That person decided they wanted to turn the corner there and jumped off the edge. So, behind us here is a Morning Star and a Cleric's Sacred Chime. Morning Star is something you find at the beginning of the game in Dark Souls 1 as well. We can't use it because our strength isn't high enough. It's a little bit better, I suppose, than our weapon because it deals more critical damage, it does more bleed, it does more poise damage, but it's heavier and it requires 15 strength, so I can't use it. Got a different attack animation too. I prefer the broadsword for this character. So here we get the real treasure of this, the binoculars. We also got the Sacred Chime, which is a thing used for casting spells. You'll notice that the binoculars are a weapon item. And they do the same things they do in Dark Souls 1. I'm actually going to equip it in my second slot here, because eventually I will get a shield. Crafted in Vol'jin. I believe Vol'jin is where our gear is supposed to be from. We start with a Falconer set aside from the helmet. And yeah, Vol'jin Falconers. I don't know if that's what we're supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to be from Vol'jin, but whatever. So, if we go over to here, that tunnel leads to an area we'll be going to a little bit later. The way we came from is over here, by the way. So after you get here, things are pretty open-ended. There's a bunch of NPCs that you really want to talk to, so let's go ahead and do that. But first, we'll go to visit the second bonfire of the game. This is the Far Bonfire. This is basically the Firelink Shrine bonfire of the game. This is basically the hub area. Actually, a lot of the NPCs will make their way here after you meet them and complete various objectives. This is why this is first on the list rather than things betwixt. And you can see we can automatically warp there, but there's no reason to do so right now. Over here, amid various bloodstains, is probably the most important NPC in the game.
Are you the next monarch? Or merely a pawn of fate? Bearer of the curse, I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
So, like
Go
us.
on and see the king. He who made Drangleic what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
So we're gonna go see the king, apparently. So we're to level up using the Emerald Herald, which is this lady right here. She also gave us an Estus Flask. I say an Estus Flask because we only get one. I think it's always supposed to be one anyway. You just have a certain number of charges to use on it. But we only start with one charge. Is there anything else I want to really equip? Nah. So, let's keep talking to her because she hasn't run out of dialogue.
Bearer of the curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid.
That's not very nice.
Seek those whose names are unutterable. The four endowed with immense souls. Their souls will serve as beacons. Once you have found them, return here to me, so that hope will not fade away.
Doesn't seem like a very good reason.
Bearer of the curse, seek souls, larger, more powerful souls. Seek the king. That is the only way. Lest this land swallow you whole, as it has so many others.
Now, Dark Souls 2 basically tells you a little bit more about the storyline through NPCs than just through item things. She basically told us what we're supposed to do. It kind of dispenses with the whole ringing the bells of awakening, and we just jump straight to getting Lord Souls, basically. She still has more to say. Let's level up first. Now, there's an item I want to use fairly early that requires some dexterity, so we're going to be getting a couple points of that early on. The rest of our stats are pretty good right now. And you can see we don't have enough to level up twice. So let's go talk to her until she stops saying things. She will actually give us indications on where we're supposed to go next.
Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle, where a man peered straight into the essence of the soul. But whatever came of it?
She's talking about that over there. We'll learn more about that later.
Those who come to Dranglake seeking salvation soon lose hope and turn hollow. It happens to them all, sooner or later. That blue knight at the base of the tower, his spirit is already broken. Although he does offer sound advice. Perhaps he is a foreshadowing of your own future.
The tower she's talking about is this obelisk or sculpture, whatever, right there. Not necessarily the tower you can see in the distance over there. I'm pretty sure that's the castle she's talking about.
That tiny thing inside the ruins. An ancient being that will mock your very existence. She imparts sound wisdom. Provided you find her on a good day.
So, she's talking about an NPC that we'll meet over there.
The sign you bear will drain your very souls. And without souls, you will turn hollow. Stay strong. Do not lose hope. Even when you have precious little time. For when the undead dies, it is never truly dead, but only one step closer to hollowing. Not all undead are hollows, but all hollows were once undead. If you find an Estus shard, bring it to me, so that I may ease your burden.
So, Estus shards are basically how we get more Estus Flask uses. You say that we don't have one, you get another charge of your Estus Flask when you find one.
Over the hill and past the forest.
Okay.
But what?
She's done. So I'll see you later, Emerald Herald. You can kill her and you get a pretty useful item, but then you can't level up, so that kind of, gets rid of the use of that. So, she mentioned a knight at the base of this tower, or obelisk or something. This tower has something very special about it. If you look at this thing, It shows you how many deaths have happened worldwide. No, yeah, we're 8.9 thousand, 80... No, that's 89 million. It's crazy. Almost exactly. So, basically, I've watched this number slowly rise as it happened at the beginning when it launched. It started with 0, and I basically started playing the game a couple hours after it went live on Steam. So, let's talk to this guy. You might recognize his voice.
You're undead, aren't you? You have that distinct scent, the smell of irreversible fate. This is Majula. It is a kind of settlement, a place where life is almost normal. And in Drang Lake these days, there are very few places like that. I am Solden. And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here. You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here. Well, that's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody.
So this is, well, you can tell he's kind of depressed. This is Solden. He's basically the crestfallen guy. He actually is referred to as crestfallen Solden. It's an interesting kind of tidbit about him later in the game. Well, pretty soon after this. In the first area, you'll see part of why he's crestfallen, I suppose.
Do you know much about souls? Even I'm not certain, but I'm told that the soul is the essence of life itself. Anything living, sentient or no, supposedly has one. What we call the curse is traceable to the soul. Do you see what that means? To be alive, to walk this earth. That's the real curse, right there. We undead will never die. And that's quite a predicament, really.
Stop being so glum. Now, we do actually want to keep talking to him, because something will activate, which is very nice, so...
There are 4 beings in this land with giant souls. And wherever you go from here, you'll sooner or later come up against them. Each has a powerful soul and a terrible curse. If that frightens you, then you ought to just give up right now, like I have. Do you ever cry out for help?
This is it.
The journey of an undead is long and treacherous. You'll face invaders from other worlds at every turn. If you need help, why not proclaim faith in the Blue Sentinels? When you face danger, the Blue Sentinels will come to your aid. Protection is yours, if you wish. You need only accept their kind embrace.
So this is a weird covenant that I've never really found a good use for. It's ostensibly supposed to be something that if you get invaded, the Blue Sentinels will come to protect you, which is another covenant. Invasions are not as common in Dark Souls 2 as they were in Dark Souls 1. Pretty much every time you became human in Dark Souls 1, you would get invaded. Dark Souls 2 is not necessarily the case, and I believe you can be invaded even when you're not human. I've just never really had it happen all that often. I've had it happen more often when I was co-op, actually. But you do get a ring for joining. You get a ring for joining all the covenants, I believe. Except one. So we get the blue seal, and you can see up to the top, next to our health and stamina, we now have this weird blue shield, I guess? The sword on it?
That is a wise decision. People are weak, but the Blue Sentinels watch over us in their benevolence. Let the Sentinels cradle you in their embrace.
An interesting thing about the Covenants in this game, let's take a look at that ring we got. It's 4 ring slots, which is quite nice. Is that you can join and leave Covenants without any penalty. There's no sin penalty for it. Unlike in Dark Souls 1, you don't gain sin for abandoning Covenants and joining other ones. So you basically can just join all of them and then just keep rejoining and leaving at your leisure. And it actually saves your progress. So here you can see this ring increases our HP slightly. So it's a useful thing to have. Takes up a slot we're not using. No reason not to have it.
Do you feel lonely here? It suits me just fine, as I've nothing left anyway. It will grow on you, this place. Give it some time.
Now, not only do you have to exhaust their dialogue to do certain things, even buy items from them sometimes, they'll unlock things like that Covenant, getting this gesture from him, more dialogue, or even completing quest lines later.
Do you see the way beyond the bonfire?
It's over there.
That will take you to the forest of the giants. There was once a great fort, but little of it remains. You may just find something there that will be of use on your journey. But don't venture too far inside, or you might not come back. Hade's Tower of Flame lies beyond the far gate. In the cathedral, the Apostles of Blue gather. But the road leading there is perilous. The gate is rigged with some contraption. But how it works, I just don't know.
So you basically just explained the 2 areas we can go to at the beginning. I'm fairly certain that that is the fort he's talking about, and that gate over there, I know, is the way to the fortress he's talking about. The Forest of the Giants. And that over there is Hade's Tower. I'll look at that with the binoculars in a minute. But to get there, we actually go over to there. And you can see that rock or tombstone over there. We'll be looking at that later.
Have you seen that pit, that gaping hole in the earth? I don't know what it's like down below, but I wouldn't suggest trying to find out. Besides, you'll never make it down there. Not without a ladder of some sort. The flame you see there is a bonfire. They exist all across the land, beacons to we undead. If you are tired, try resting beside the flame. The flame heals us. Long ago, a woman called a firekeeper watched over each bonfire. She kept the flame lit and guarded it from those who would extinguish it. I wonder where the firekeepers went.
I went to that house to be mean to people.
Did you notice any letters on the ground on the way here?
Standing on some.
These are messages that have jumped the fissures between worlds. In Drang Lake, the flow of time is convoluted. Things shift and waver, twist and turn. Poignant wishes, dashed dreams. The messages convey our very inner thoughts. If your will to soldier on falters, try leaving a message. Somebody out there is sure to listen.
I wonder what this message I'm standing on says.
You may notice symbols that appear upon the ground. These are summon signatures. They call upon spirits from other worlds through the schisms in time. If you fear hollows, find summon signatures to call upon spirits to help you.
So that's basically the same mechanic as in Dark Souls 1. Summon people to do some jolly cooperation. We can't do that yet.
Do you see the way?
Okay, he's
you
done.
may, but don't.
So let's take a look
May
around.
you find peace on your journey.
Just like in Dark Souls 1, if you run away from people quickly while you're in a menu, don't you dare, they will often say something. Back here, these letters are worn beyond recognition. How did this person die? Oh, they rolled off the cliff. I'm gonna re-equip my binoculars here. So, over here is Hyde's Tower. And Hyde's, the Tower of Flame he's referring to is probably that lighthouse. And then that bigger building is the cathedral. To get there we go further over there. And then down there in the tunnel is the way to get to the Forest of the Giants. And then that gate over there in the wall is how you get to Hyde's Tower. So let's visit some more NPCs. Could rest because I'm not at full health, but whatever. Over here is a door. It's locked. There's a strange green man sitting here with a belt on his head.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me open this door. I packed my tools in here, seeing it was vacant. But now somebody's gone and locked the door. I'm a blacksmith. I'm nothing without my tools. Bring me that key. Chop chop.
So this is the blacksmith of Majula, and we can't use him right now because we don't have a key. Blacksmiths work the same way in Dark Souls 1, except that you don't actually have to have your items repaired for durability. It's only if they break that you need to bring them to them. They can upgrade items and things like that. There's no smithing box that you can do that yourself, so you have to come to one of the blacksmiths. And this is the one for Majula. He's the most convenient, but with the warping system, it's not really a whole lot different either way. But if you're going to level up, then, you know, spending some souls there. Here we get some more life gems and Soul of a Nameless Soldier. Nameless Soldiers give you 800 souls. Whereas there's actually a tier in between the Lost Undead and Nameless Soldiers, where a large soul of Lost Undead that's worth 400. So we'll come back to him later. We don't know his name yet. So there's a bunch of ruined buildings around here. As I said before, the game is kind of open-ended from here. There's two legitimate paths. One path that is completely blocked off, and one path that you would kind of have to venture into the other paths to do. So, the shadows over there. It's pretty nice. Hello, TV's Frank. Almost fell off the boulder doing that. So, let's demonstrate before we talk to more NPCs, because that's what we're going to do. The path that's blocked off, which is up here. And each of these areas more or less lead to each of the souls that they're talking about. Although two of them lead to the same one, if you do it, I guess, properly. And then there's a side path on one of them that leads to one of the souls after you do the area. But that actually requires backtracking. It's a bit weird. So over here is an NPC with big blue sword.
Have you business with me? The way yonder is all blocked up, you see, by this god-awful statue. Heavens above. Who thought it a good idea to put it there? Oof, I'm in quite the pickle now.
This guy reminds me of Sigmar. He's in front of a locked gate. Says he's in a pickle and uses a big sword.
See that statue? Gives me the willies. You stare at it for long enough, it starts to look alive. Ah, it Just doesn't seem quite right. There are no craftsmen round these parts. Hey, you don't think a real-life person was turned to stone, do you?
That's preposterous. We'll learn that guy's name later. Here we get some homeward bones and life gems. It's pretty nice. It's one of the reasons you don't want to pick the homeward bone options, because you pick them up in Majula. So this is the gate he was talking about. Can't even interact with it. And this is the statue he referred to. Here are some sounds coming from behind that gate. Be wary of ambush, huh? This happens bloodstained. Guy ran away. Oh no. And he dies. Okay, so this door is something we can open, but I want to demonstrate something here. Doors can also be broken by attacking, and this guy's going to do it for me, so... Keep hitting the wall there, that's not good for my weapon. And these are guys I accidentally guard broke them there. These guys are guys you're not supposed to fight until later. They're not that hard as long as you know their attack patterns. Get some Lloyd's talismans from that. But as you can see from the green glow from their hands, they can actually poison you. Let's see if we can backstab this guy. Nope. So you don't want to get hit by these guys. Oh, I almost killed him. Alright. They're worth a little bit more souls than the guys we fought previously, but no big deal. Front, by the way, light. I don't know what that means. So, let's continue down. We can't do anything in this path. It's actually... This isn't a path that leads to souls, is it? No, it is. It is. It's just also a path that leads later into the game after that. There's kind of a junction point later on in this area. So this area is still technically Majula for purposes of things like bonfire aesthetics, which respawn all the enemies in the area and set it to the next level of New Game Plus. It'll also respawn any wooden chests and items on bodies, but it will not respawn iron chests, which is important to note, or NPCs or NPC inventories. Just keep that in mind. Speaking of NPCs, let's talk to this one.
Hello there. Welcome to my shop. I'm Morlin, and I sell armor. Oh, sorry, Please do have a look at my wares. I could really use the business. If you'd be so kind.
So this is Mullen. He's a pretty cool merchant here. Although at the beginning he does kind of have some crappy stuff. I mean, these are not bad, but this, I believe, the iron farm is what the warrior starts with. These, you'll notice, do not have 100% physical block. There is a shield you can get fairly early that has 100% physical block, but they're not as common as they were in Dark Souls 1. It also has the starting gear for the warrior here, the hard leather set with the standard helmet. He also has the infantry armor set, worn by Drang Lake Infantry, which is it's basically an NPC set that we'll be finding later, but this is a better version of it, although there's no helmet at the moment. There's also the Falconer set, and he actually sells the helmet for it, but I'm not going to want that. Now, later on we actually do want to buy stuff from him, because after you buy a bunch of stuff from him, he'll upgrade his stock. When he upgrades his stock, he'll start restocking some really nice stuff, including later, when you start killing bosses, you can actually buy the armor sets from those bosses.
I came from the west, from Volgan. Have you been there? It's a lively place, vibrant with trade. Very competitive, of course. And you have to grease the wheels to get anywhere. But I didn't have the funding for that, so I left home in hopes of striking gold. It's been years since then, and I've made very little headway.
Like in Dark Souls 2,
I don't even know why I'm still here. Everything's all run down and dying. It's terrible for business, really.
I often mention places that people are from, and it's quite interesting. Now notice he says he doesn't know why he's here. A lot of NPCs seem confused about why they're there and what they're doing. I think it's because it's implying that they're going hollow. It's kind of sad. Presumably all the NPCs are undead, with the exception of a couple, I think, are not.
A group calling themselves the Blue Sentinels have gained much power in Volgan. You can't even run a shop without their blessing. They claim to be working for the greater good, but it's absolute hogwash.
So apparently he does not agree with Salden about the Blue Sentinels.
Oh, by the gods, why the hell am I here?
So unfortunately for him, we're not going to buy anything right now.
Well, I do hope I see you again.
But we'll help cheer him up later. Let's go up this ladder. And a chest up here with some stuff in it. A Titanite shard. It's used just like in Dark Souls 1 for upgrading items. Now Titanite shards only upgrade to +3, and it costs progressively more as you get more and more upgrades. Weapons only go up to +10, and it's much simpler, I suppose, this time. This goes up to +10, see? And this goes up to +3. There's 2 intermediate stages in between those two. So that's Mullen. This is the pit. The pit is... well... pit's a hole. That guy apparently... didn't survive. Now if you look there... it looked like he was climbing down a ladder. This guy's got the idea that he's just going to jump off. That didn't work either. If we do that, we will die. So I'm not going to do that.